Have you ever felt like you're just drowning in information? Articles, feeds, everything coming at you, but you still feel like you're missing something, like real understanding. It's that feeling, right? Being information rich, but somehow wisdom poor. It's a really common thing these days. So, what if there was a kind of foundational toolkit, like a philosophical Swiss Army knife, maybe, to help you cut through all that noise and actually think clearly? Today, we're doing a deep dive into The Great Mental Models by Farnam Street. That's Shane Parrish's work. It's less a quick read, more like a slow-brewed cognitive cocktail, you could say. It pulls together insights from some really sharp minds throughout history, all aimed at helping you refine your own thinking.
Exactly. And that's what this deep dive is all about. We want to unpack the book's core message, look at why it feels maybe more urgent now than ever. We'll pull out the key takeaways, try to understand what shaped Parrish's thinking, and most importantly, figure out what this means for you moving forward. It's really about, reclaiming some clarity, especially when noise and ego and quick reactions seem to pass for good decision making.
Yeah, definitely. So settle in with us. Let's metaphorically grab a coffee and maybe quietly rearrange the architecture of our thinking a bit. This isn't just about the book, it's about how these ideas can really shift how you see things. Okay, so let's start with the core problem Shane Parrish saw. The one that just feels so true today. We are, as he says, overloaded with information but starving for wisdom. Doesn't that just hit home?
Oh, absolutely. It nails it. And the gap the book tries to fill is, well, it's fundamental. Most of us are taught what to think,
Right.
but almost never how to think. So we fall back on instinct or, what worked before, gut feelings. We jump to conclusions, follow the crowd, and then when things go wrong,
Uh-huh.
it's bad luck, not maybe bad thinking.
Right. And Parrish's solution is pretty elegant. He wants to give you these first principle mental tools, like breaking things down to the absolute basics. Instead of just following a recipe, you're understanding the ingredients. And these tools work across different fields, helping you build a thinking system that's like portable and adaptable. It's about training yourself to spot those mental traps. Confirmation bias, only seeing what you already believe or getting stuck in just one way of thinking.
And what's really key here, I think, is that the message isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's not about IQ points. It's about cultivating wisdom, the kind of clarity that lets you see through the fog. And honestly, with everything flying around these days, clarity might just be the rarest currency there is.
Totally agree. So this isn't one of those books you read, check off your list, and, put on the shelf. It feels more like something you need to live with. Dog-ear it, argue with it, keep coming back to it, like a compass for clearer thinking.
Precisely. And that's why the ideas aren't just relevant, they feel more urgent than ever. If you connect them to what's happening now, well, take the attention crisis. We're all distracted, right? It's so easy to confuse just scrolling through information with actually gaining knowledge, or mistaking noise for a real signal. These mental models, they act like anchors. They help you pause, evaluate, think.
That makes so much sense. Our gut feelings just aren't cutting it anymore, are they? Especially with how complex things are getting. Modern problems, AI ethics, global economics, whatever, they cross so many disciplines, you can't tackle them from just one angle. So the book talks about building a lattice work of models, borrowing ideas from physics, biology, economics, philosophy.
Yeah, and the point isn't to become an expert in everything. Parrish says, you don't need to be a master of all fields, but you must borrow the best ideas from each. It's about breadth.
Okay, but what about how technology almost uses our own biases against us, like algorithms feeding our confirmation bias?
That's a huge challenge. Social media algorithms, they're often designed to exploit exactly that confirmation bias, herd behavior. Mental models offer a kind of shield. They push you to ask better questions before just reacting to whatever pops up on your screen.
And then there's AI automation, this idea of fake thinking almost.
Right. When AI can generate text or code or even mimic conversation, what becomes truly valuable is actual human thinking, that slow, deliberate, reflective process. The book argues that our edge isn't just knowing stuff anymore, it's wisdom, judgment, ethics, understanding nuance, things machines struggle with.
So processing speed isn't the ultimate goal.
Not at all. And add to that, we're in this time of high stakes but really low patience. Decisions happen fast, and the consequences can be huge. A tweet can derail a career. A market blip can hit your savings hard. The book helps you approach life more like chess, thinking moves ahead, not just reacting like in checkers.
It's powerful. It feels like the book is quietly inviting you to be wiser, Not shouting for attention, but handing back some agency, encouraging you to slow down, think intentionally. So let's get into some of these elegant lenses, as you called them. Volume 1, General Thinking Concepts, lays the groundwork. From your look at the sources, what are some of the real standouts?
Okay, yeah. Several concepts really jump out as being incredibly useful. First, there's the map is not the territory. It sounds simple, but it's profound. Your models, your understanding, that's the map. Reality is the messy, unpredictable territory. The map is useful, sure, but don't mistake it for the real thing. It teaches you to hold all your frameworks a bit loosely.
That alone is huge. We spend so much time building these mental maps and then treating them like they're perfectly accurate.
Exactly. Then you've got circle of competence. This is all about knowing what you really know well, and, just as importantly, knowing where your knowledge ends. The book basically says you don't have to have an opinion on everything. It's like an anti-arrogance tool. Knowing your limits is a strength,
That's such a good ego check, especially online where everyone's an expert.
isn't it? Then there's inversion. This one's fascinating. Solving problems by thinking backward. Instead
Yeah, I
of,
have.
how do I succeed? You ask, what would guarantee failure? And then you make sure to avoid those things, like want peace. Figure out what causes unrest and eliminate that. It feels weird at first, but it's really effective.
I love that. It totally flips the script on how you usually approach problems.
Cool.
Okay, and second order thinking, that sounds important.
Oh, it is. It's like strapping a telescope to your mind, as you put it earlier. It's about looking past the immediate result, asking, and then what?
Mm-hmm.
Most people stop at the first consequence. But this helps you see the ripples, how short-term choices can create long-term, maybe chaotic effects. Life unfolds in layers.
Like dominoes falling. And finally, probabilistic thinking. This feels like a relief from needing absolute certainty all the time.
It really is. It's about thinking in terms of likelihoods, percentages, not black and white certainties. One source calls certainty a drug, and this chapter, rehab. I like that. It frees you from tying your self-worth only to outcomes. You start judging decisions by the process, acknowledging that luck and randomness always play a part. A good decision can still lead to a bad outcome, and vice versa.
Okay, and tying all these together is the idea of the lattice work, right? It's not just about picking one model.
Precisely. A mental model isn't a strict rule, it's a lens. And you get clearer vision by trying on lots of different lenses, not just polishing one favorite. It encourages that multidisciplinary thinking the book champions. Combining ideas from different fields, that's where the real insights often happen. And the book does more than just hand you tools. It kind of gently pokes at your assumptions, challenges some common beliefs, like the idea that just knowing more automatically means thinking better. It doesn't. Without models to filter and structure information, more data can actually make you dumber, in a way. It's about discernment, not just consumption.
That really pushes back against the whole information hoarding trend. And the circle of competence, that's a real ego check too, like we said.
Yeah, in a world screaming for opinion, saying, I don't know, feels almost rebellious, doesn't it? It challenges the ego. And in version 2, thinking backwards. It's not glamorous, it's kind of gritty, honest. Most people avoid it.
And probabilistic thinking, letting go of certainty, that's hard for a lot of us.
It is. Embracing nuance, being okay with, this seems likely,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong. That's tough, but so necessary now.
Second order thinking also feels radical in a way, resisting the quick win for the longer game.
Totally. Especially in our 24/7 news cycle world. And the whole emphasis on borrowing from different fields, that's a rebellion against silos, isn't it? It's saying, be curious everywhere, polymathy is power.
So it seems like the book is systematically debunking a lot of myths we take for granted. What are some big ones?
Oh, definitely. The myth that smart people automatically make smart decisions. Nope. Clear thinking is a skill you cultivate. Smart people can make big mistakes, often due to overconfidence. Also, the idea that experience automatically leads to wisdom. Not necessarily. It's reflected experience, analyzed through good models, that leads to wisdom. Just doing something for years isn't enough.
Right, you have to actually think about what happened. What else?
The myth that you need to be an expert in just one thing. The book argues breadth is often more powerful for insight. And the idea that good decisions guarantee good outcomes doesn't work that way. Randomness always gets a vote.
That's a tough one to accept, the role of luck.
It is. He also challenges always be positive. Sometimes inversion thinking negatively is smarter. And the myth that certainty equals confidence, real confidence often involves acknowledging uncertainty. Oh, and Hanlon's razor debunks the idea that if someone hurt you, it was probably malicious. Much more often, it's just ignorance or carelessness. That model alone can change how you react to people.
Wow. It really feels like it challenges our addiction to speed, our need for certainty, our discomfort with humility, and maybe our fear of slow, deep thinking. It's basically saying, wake up, here's how to actually see. Okay, let's peek behind the curtain a bit. What shaped Shane Parrish? What influenced his thinking for this book? It feels like it came from somewhere demanding.
That's a great way to put it. His background is definitely key. His time as an intelligence analyst in Canada, that was foundational. Think about it. High-stakes decisions, tons of uncertainty, needing to separate signal from noise constantly. He learned firsthand the cost of bad thinking, of flawed mental models. That pressure cooker really honed his obsession with clarity.
So the roots are in making critical calls under pressure.
Absolutely. Then, after leaving intelligence, he started the Farnam Street blog. That became his digital laboratory, you could say, a place to learn out loud. He was digesting and synthesizing decades of thinking from people like Munger and Buffett, philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, scientists like Feynman, cognitive scientists, economists. The book feels like the distillation of all that intense study.
And Charlie Munger looms large, right? His influence seems everywhere.
Oh, completely. Munger's idea of the lattice work of mental models, mastering the big ideas from the big disciplines, that's the absolute backbone of Parrish's work. He really sees himself as building on Munger's foundation, but making it maybe more practical for everyday people.
He also seems really grounded in cognitive science, behavioral economics, Kahneman, Thaler, Tversky.
Yes, definitely. He's fascinated about how our own minds trick us. So understanding heuristics, biases, decision fatigue, that gives the book a solid scientific grounding. It's not just philosophy, it's about how brains actually work. And crucially, Shane didn't just read about these models, he lived them. He kept decision journals, practiced inversion, used first principles. It was personal practice, not just academic study.
And imagine his podcast, The Knowledge Project, interviewing all those incredible people, must have reinforced it all.
Exactly. Those interviews were like real-world validation. Hearing Nobel winners, investors, artists talk about how they think, how they use similar timeless principles. So yeah, the book is this amazing tapestry. Threads of intelligence work, deep reading, Munger, cognitive science, personal practice, all woven together. It's like he felt the cost of unclear thinking so deeply, he had to build this flashlight for the rest of us. So think about you, the listener, continuing this journey. What might Shane Parrish suggest? What should you keep doing, maybe stop doing, start doing? Well, first, he'd definitely say continue the quest for clarity. The fact you're even listening to this shows you value deep thinking. Keep nurturing your own circle of competence, especially in those unique areas you mentioned, writing, music, emotional insight. Lean into what you know.
Okay, makes sense. And what should we maybe stop doing?
He'd likely urge you to stop getting caught up in productivity, just for productivity's sake. Remember that distinction, noise versus signal. Be really wary of mental clutter that just feels like progress but isn't real thinking.
That's a tough one today. So much pressure to just do more, and what should we actively start doing?
I think he'd strongly recommend starting to actively apply second-order thinking to your relationships, your projects, your work. Constantly ask, and then what? What are the downstream effects? And also, consciously build your own lattice work. Maybe even start a mental model journal, like some sources suggest, a place to track which models resonate, how you're using them, how they're working for you.
That leads to a really interesting question. If this book were updated today, like for 2025, what new models might make the cut? The world's changed even since it was written.
That's a great thought experiment. Given everything going on, I bet he'd add some new tools for navigating modern complexities. Maybe something like epistemic hygiene, how to critically assess information in this post-truth era, spotting credibility versus just virality, navigating filter bubbles. It builds on map is not territory, but add that layer of deep info skepticism.
Oh, that feels absolutely essential now. What else? Maybe something related to AI.
For sure. Human-machine co-thinking seems vital. Understanding AI's limits, but also knowing where our unique strengths lie. Empathy, ethics, handling ambiguity, especially when AI gets so good at faking expertise, and maybe the attention lattice. How to manage focus as this incredibly scarce resource, understanding the dopamine economics of the platforms fighting for our eyeballs.
And what about the emotional side? Life feels pretty emotionally complex right now.
Very likely. Maybe a feeling filter, integrating emotional intelligence into reasoning. Models for things like cognitive reappraisal, conflict resolution. So many bad decisions start with unchecked emotions. Perhaps anti-fragility in personal systems, too. How to design your life to actually get stronger from stress and chaos, building redundancy, and maybe even identity and narrative models, questioning the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, how they shape everything, and perhaps even ethics as a thinking framework for those really thorny modern dilemmas.
Wow. Those aren't just minor updates, I feel like lifeboats for navigating the current chaos. Because we're not just thinking privately anymore, are we? We're thinking out loud through machines, under pressure, with truth and performance all blurred together. It's a different landscape.
Absolutely. So if I had to boil the great mental models down to one sharp summary, it's this: a timeless toolkit to sharpen how you think so you can see the world more clearly and make better decisions, especially in all this noise.
And I think ultimately that's the key takeaway, isn't it? Wisdom isn't really about having all the answers. It's about learning to ask much better questions. This book feels like a lifeline, truly, for anyone trying to build a thoughtful life in a very distracted world. And you know what? You're already doing the hard part. You're thinking about how you think. Let's keep sharpening that lens together.